Hello one and all, I am Pal of Games and welcome to a little quick card discussion, if you will, on the artifacts. I thought it would be interesting to sort of discuss these briefly, give you sort of a quick summary of what they are, how they work, and what you probably the best ways to use them. At the minute, they've released 6 monsters, 7 if you count the XYZ, 1 spell and 1 trap for the Archetype. The way they work is very much like Crystal Beasts, but the difference being that they can be automatically set to the spell and trap card zone rather than go there once they're destroyed. Then the way they work is if they get destroyed during the opponent's turn, they get an effect based on that. Sort of based on whether they're destroyed then or not. We'll start with Labris. He has his effect is when an artifact card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon this from a hand. So this is the only card what is sort of gets an effect. Also joining that, he's also like all artifacts, monsters. Their effect is when they're destroyed during the opponent's turn, they're special summoned to the field from the graveyard. So he's got some sort of flexibility in that you could, if you're sort of quite sort of you've blocked up all your spell and trap card zones, and you're sort of he gives you an extra way of playing him, if you will. Moving on, we've got Moral Tack, whose effect is if it's special summoned during the opponent's turn, which is by its own effect, obviously. I suppose also other effects also apply, like Call of Haunted for example. Obviously that applies, and so forth and so on. You can destroy one face-up card your opponent controls. So that's nice. That's a nice quick pop card, and it's definitely really efficient for sort of getting the jump on the opponent when they're not expecting it. Especially if they've gone like into a Judgment Dragon. You're playing Light Swans against Light Swans, I should say, and they've gone for that. You can bring this out and just surprise them. Following on from that, we've got Form Naught, which his effect is if he's special summon during your opponent's turn, you can target one artifact monster in your graveyard, set that target to your spell and trap card zone. That's nice for setting up later plays. He is kind of redundant in that effect during the sort of early turns, but past that it can be quite effective. Caduceus, I feel, is a great card. Many people are underrating him at the minute, but I feel he's great because his effect is during your opponent's turn when an artifact monster is special summoned, draw one card. You must control this face-up card to activate and resolve the effect. So, a lot of people could say it's a bad card, but I feel it's great because it's sort of that additional card power, sort of draw power is great because you can get loads off, and if you've sort of brought it out before you've destroyed a load, then you're sort of that's a clever way to play him, I feel. Moving on, we've got Beagle Tech, or Tack, I suppose you should say. This effect is if it's special summoned during your opponent's turn, you can destroy up to 2 set cards you control. So obviously the point of him is you can use him to sort of destroy your own sort of cards to get the effects. Now the way I like to use him the most, and this applies for AGs as well, is I like to play Shining Angels in my deck. Shining Angel, for those of you who don't know, is a card which his effect is that when it's destroyed by battle and sent to a graveyard, you can just special summon one light monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck and face up attack. Now, obviously you're not going to attack into stuff when it's your turn, unless obviously you go and destroy it. And so you can play it, sort of set it, and it sort of gives you the ability to go into this and once again surprise your opponent. It's a great way of doing it, and I quite like running Shining Angel at the minute. I feel like it's a great card for the deck, as well as some other stuff like Malevolent Catastrophe and other stuff, just synergises well with the artifacts. Finally, on to our last monster of the sort of the normal creatures not exempt from the XYZs is AGs, whose effect is if it's special and during your opponent's turn until the end of a turn, artifact monsters you control cannot be targeted by or be destroyed by card effects, which is great. If you've gone in for this massive swarm, you've brought out the AGs, it stops them from sort of going into, okay, main phase 2 Dark Hole. They can't do that, so it makes it a lot trickier for them to work around them. As well as obviously Judgment Dragon being another perfect example. He can't then nuke again to stop what you might have played. So that's great. I feel that it's definitely a nice starting set of monsters for the archetype. Onto the one spell they have got, which is Artifact Movement, which is effect is target one spell trap on the field. This can be either side, so it doesn't have to apply for you, but most of the time you're going to use it on your own stuff. And destroy that target, and if you do, set one artifact monster directly from your deck to your spell and trap card zone. That's great, obviously, and like all the other artifact cards, you know, if this card in your possession is destroyed by your opponent's card, your opponent skips their next special phase, which is great in a lot of circumstances. If they've gone for like, I hate to keep bringing it up, but because light ones are so going to be heavily meta, this counters it quite well. And because it's in possession, it doesn't matter if it gets negated and destroyed. Possession is if it's. I think it's if its original effect is negated and destroyed, you still get the effect, which is cool. Moving on to our last card, the trap card of the deck, is special summon one artifact monster from your deck. You can only activate one Theosophy of the artifacts per turn. You cannot conduct your battle phase this turn. The turn you activate this, I should say. Obviously, most of the time I use this during the opponent's turn, because it's a really nice way of playing it. Because you can go into, like I said before, the Caduceus or the Beagle attack, depending on what's best at the time, or maybe even a moral attack, depending on the situation, obviously, and be able to just really get the drop on the opponent. As well as that, this card's effect has the secondary effect of if this card in your possession is destroyed by your opponent's card, you can target one card on the field, destroy that target, which is great. Another nice little pop card. Moving on for the last card of the archetype, which is the XYZ for them, which is Artifact Durandal. And his effect is once per turn during either player's turn, you can activate one of these effects. The main effect, which you're going to use a lot, is when a monster effect activates on the field, or when a normal spell trap is activated, you can detach one XYZ material from this card. That card's effect becomes destroyed on spell or trap. Now, regardless, obviously that's got great synergy with the artifacts, which is the whole point of it. But I want to move on to its secondary effect, which many people may sort of discount sometimes, which is you can detach one XYZ material from this card. Both players shuffle their entire hands into their deck, and each player draws the same amount. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because sometimes they might do something which is you've sort of seen coming. They've sort of set up a load of stuff into their hand. Maybe they're an Exodia player. I mean, it's unlikely, but you never know. This sort of, you can shuffle them back in and sort of screw with them a bit, which is fun. And why not? You know, it serves them right for playing, you know, an annoying deck. Not to say that, you know, if you want to play it, go ahead, but it's always fun to play a proper deck. I say proper, even though they are, but let's just not get into this. But anyway, regardless, I hope that's a nice little summary of the artifacts, and hope helps mould your thoughts on this. I will be going into more in-depth stuff in terms of cards to go with them and such in a upcoming deck profile for them, and that's something just to keep in mind. But other than that, thanks for watching everyone, and goodbye.